You can get that on a hoodie or on a sweatshirt or long sleeve for the colder months. We've also got a mug for your hot cocoa and an adorable sticker that's begging to go on your notebook or laptop. We've also got this limited time Murford and Sean's shirt that was voted on by our patrons, and this one is only available through the end of January, so pick it up now and make sure you don't miss out. We've also got some items leaving the merch store to make way for new stuff in the future, so grab those while you still can. And you can find all of this sweet merch at bit.
Hey y'all, thanks for tuning into the Nintendo Drive. If you're hanging out with us on YouTube, be sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Or, if you're getting cozy and listening to us on your podcast feed, make sure you're following and leaving us nice reviews. You can also support the show on Patreon and pick up some awesome merch. Links to those and more are in the description, but let's get the show started.
Ryan, Seth, stop what you're doing right now because we are live recording a podcast, for goodness sake. So keep it clean. All right, Seth? You filthy mouse son of a gun, you.
You filthy animal.
Bag, you filthy animal.
I'd be the one you'd be worried about, being the Xbox guy jumping in on this Nintendo podcast, this family-friendly podcast.
Definitely the X Factor on the show today, Ryan Turford. Welcome in, man. How are you, dude?
Oh, I'm doing well. You know, the weather is kind of cold outside. It's snowing. It's a bit. It's not great.
Seth, save me, Seth.
Look what you've invited to this show. You guys asked me to be here, of all things, and here's what happens when that happens. But it's good to see you guys. It's good to see you guys. I'm glad I'm filling in for the show. Although these are some tough shoes to fill because I'm filling in for Luckleth tonight, unfortunately. And it's tough. It's tough to fill in. But I have a physical already prepared.
Nice.
So at least I've got that step going on.
Yeah. Well, just get a DoorDash and pull some red wine out of the fridge, and you're well on your way, my friend.
Yeah.
Like you're good.
Eat some cheese fries or whatever it is she's doing.
The night's still young, my friends. There's still lots of time to go before I go to sleep, so you never know.
Can I say that I've really been enjoying the mix mash of we're like a box of Lego that isn't the set. We're just like the leftover pieces that you kind of go like, I guess we'll make this now. You know, now we got a Ryan, a me, and a Seth. And last week it was Seth and Luckleth, and on the PlayStation Drive, Seth was on there, and Matt's in. Is he in Mexico? Where is Matt? Where did he go?
I don't know where he is.
Tahiti?
Some kind of tropical place. He didn't mention to me where he went, but he just said he was going.
Undisclosed.
Maybe it's better that we don't dox him.
Yeah, probably not.
What are his coordinates? How about we put that on
also, like Seth and I both did PlayStation Drive together with Matt last week too, which was also again just weird. We're experimenting with combinations here, you guys.
I'm enjoying it. Yeah. Well, the internet can easily triangulate positions. If we remember bringing back to Nintendo, when the NX was originally leaked, that circular, the elliptical kind of oval controller screen thing that had a reflection of a tree that was definitely that tree and wherever the heck it was. But a good memory. If you know, you know. Yeah. John32 in the chat says, what happened to Luckleth? Luckleth died. She died of the same thing that I died of last week when I wasn't on the show.
Sean last week. Yeah. Luckleth this week. I hope I'm safe for next week at this point.
I don't think you are. Is coming.
Yeah. Clock's ticking, dude.
Yeah, please. I'm probably next on the chopping block after Seth at this point, so it's fine. We're all going to get whatever is going around the carpool, I guess, since we're all sharing the car together. Even though we're masking up, it's just, it's inevitable.
It's going through the cyber waves. It's going through the World Wide Web, Seth.
Something's happening.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Who knows, dude?
Horror movie Pulse. I don't know if either of you seen that movie. It was a horror movie in like the early 2000s.
Oh yeah.
Where there were ghosts that were invading the living world through the internet, because they're ghosts that live in the internet apparently, and they want to come and invade our souls and cause mass hysteria to the point where it becomes like a post-apocalyptic series with the second and third movies where the world is totally demolished because there's technology everywhere. There's just ghosts pouring through it constantly. It's a thing.
Very into this. I'm very.
I want to watch it.
Sounds great. Yeah, I want to watch it. That sounds.
We
so
need
good.
a movie podcast, man. Like we need all these things, Ryan. But it is just as well because Lachlan isn't feeling well, and we hope that she gets better very soon. But I think you were going to be on the show anyways, because Fire Emblem is a thing that eventually we'll probably talk about tonight.
It's this thing right here, this big box,
Oh,
this
snap.
Fire Emblem Divine Edition.
Look at the size of that
exciting.
box.
I know. Well, again, I also had to, invoke the spirit of Lachlan tonight by bringing out a physical thing tonight. So I got my Fire Emblem Divine Edition. I'm so excited to talk to y'all about Fire Emblem because I've been chomping at the bit to talk about this game, and I haven't been able to talk about it on a podcast yet. So I'm very excited.
Here we
tonight.
are.
Well, I'm curious,
Yeah,
Seth,
they're
if we
here
should just
tonight.
delay, like kind of just because, or should we like let him do the thing?
Let it rip. Can I say real quick because
Let it
as
rip.
of right now, let it rip like Beyblade, of course, Sean, as you know well. I have to say here, and especially since Lochlith's here, sick and in the chat, Lochlith is staying up even though she's sick to make sure that exactly at midnight the Murford and Sean shirt will be decommissioned. So
Yep.
you have just a couple of hours as we're live right now on youtube.com/carpoolgaming. If you're listening to this on the podcast feeds, you're already
too late. Missed your
You
chance.
missed out. You got to go ahead and get that Murford and Sean shirt, bit.ly/CPG merch.
Let it be a
Getting
lesson. You know, if you
Yeah.
are one of the unfortunate souls out there who did not jump on this, there will be others, but not this one again. This one is
Right.
like it's one of those you right click on it and you permanently delete. Like you download that special software that deletes the file forever. Like just
It's not even in the vault.
It's the
not in the
version
vault.
of what is it? The dip from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's
Yeah.
that for
Yes.
computer files. That's where it's going. Christopher Lloyd is coming in and dipping that Brian Murford, the Murford and Sean's T-shirt into the dip. It's gone forever.
Yeah.
Speaking of terrifying, this is the opposite thing, Seth, that we get to do tonight. We get to reference things in the post show because we pre-recorded the post show.
True.
So
Yeah.
speaking
The
of
post-show.
post show things that we've already discussed, things that terrify you, that they're supposed to be meant for kids, but it's very, very, very scary. Early 90s, late 80s kind of stuff. Very scary stuff, man.
You mean to tell me y'all were terrified of Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Christopher Lloyd?
Not
Really?
only that, but especially steamrollers, Ryan. Steamrollers forever were ruined from that movie, dude.
The
Like,
high-pitched voice and everything.
So when you watched Austin Powers for the first time and you saw that poor guard get run over by the steamroller, you're like,
Exactly.
bringing back all
those
these
are
terrible
the
memories.
those are the two steamroller memories from movies in my mind forever. That's hilarious. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
WatchMojo.com's most iconic steamroller moments.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like a top 5 list, and they get through 1 and 2, and that's it. They're
Well,
done.
Sean, we have Power Wash Simulator as well as a bunch of other simulators. When are we gonna get
Steamroller
Steamroller
Simulator? My God.
Simulator.
Can we please? That would be amazing. Yes.
Just drive your steamroller everywhere and try not to run people over with it flat
Oh.
for cartoons.
Terrifying. You do not want to get caught up in more terrifying than like a tree, like a wood chipper.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's I don't know, that's just me. I think I'm a little broken. I know I am.
A little?
Yeah.
The
It's better when I say it. Take it easy there, Murford.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Back off, all right? The problem with Lochlith not being here tonight is we have nobody to rein us in. It's just the inmates are running
Ryan's
the
right here.
asylum
Ryan,
right
that's
now.
Ryan's. That's in his
Ryan?
DNA. Ryan's
Please.
good.
I
He's
rein
good at
people in when I'm hosting the show, but I'm not hosting the show. So as far as I'm concerned,
crazy.
it's up to I'm the guest here. As far as I'm concerned, it's up to the host to rein things
We
in.
are.
I'm just going with the flow that you guys are
We're in
presenting.
trouble.
We are in trouble.
We're in trouble. We're in trouble, dude. It's gonna be rough. Okay. Well, let me attempt to do so by asking what everybody's been playing. Is that normally what we do here?
I think so.
We talk about
I
what
think
we've
so.
been playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's been going on, Ryan? What have you been playing, my friend?
So Fire Emblem came out 10 days ago from the time we're recording this. I spent about 50 hours playing that game in 10 days.
Oh my
In 10 days.
Yeah, I could not put it down. I finally finished it this morning. I did the last mission and the credits rolled and oh my God, I loved it. I love
Wow.
Fire Emblem Engage. I could not stop playing it. It's honestly, if this game would have come out last year, it would have been one of my favorite games from last year, I think.
Wow.
And I just really, really, really enjoyed my time with it. It was really refreshing to play a great strategy role-playing game like Fire Emblem Engage. I've been really wanting a game like that. And one of the things I loved about Engage versus Three Houses, and it is one of the kind of the key differences this time around, is I've really felt this game put a lot more emphasis on the strategy itself versus all the relationship building stuff or the school stuff that we had in Three Houses. I like that they really simplified things and put the emphasis on the strategy combat this time around. And that's what that's one of the reasons why I just was so engrossed in the experience, was because I just wanted to see what they would throw at me next with each new mission, with some of because they do some crazy stuff with the strategy and they add some interesting mechanics. It almost kind of reminds me a lot of, did either of you play Fire Emblem Fates Conquest specifically?
Not Conquest. I did Birthright.
I think Birthright was the one I did too.
Yeah, it was the easiest one as well. I think that's what most people would have done. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Conquest was actually brutally difficult because you couldn't actually, there were no skirmish matches, so you couldn't grind your characters. So you kind of just were stuck with whatever levels they were at, combined with the fact that there were a bunch of environmental hazards while you were on the maps, or it threw a bunch of different and interesting challenges your way. And I really feel like Engage is kind of that idea, but a little more approachable. So I really, really enjoyed that aspect. Not only that too, I'm just going to throw it out there. For the longest time, people have asked us on the RPG Cave where they should start with Fire Emblem, because there are so many different games with Fire Emblem. Where should someone start if they're getting into the series brand new? And this is actually my answer for the longest time was Awakening on 3DS was the perfect place to start. But I'm telling people now,
more than Birthright,
if someone asks me that question,
interesting.
I actually think that they should start with this one. I actually think Engage is like probably the best place to start with Fire Emblem if you're like someone new to the series. I actually think it's probably this is the one to start with. And then if you're into this, then maybe go back and play Three Houses, or, pull out your 3DS and play, Awakening or Conquest or something like that. Like, I think there's a lot of good options to go from there, but I think this does a good job of teaching you as well how to play it. Everything's very straightforward and easy to understand, mechanically. And then the story's pretty good too. So honestly, yeah, I really enjoyed it, but I know you guys probably have some questions for me.
Presto the Magnificent was in the Discord and it says, question for the show, which game is better for a new fan of Fire Emblem, Engage or Three Houses? You kind of answered that as well, but I don't know if you would even consider Three Houses. It sounds like that wasn't even part of the newcomers package, Ryan Turford.
Well, that's because the reason I don't usually recommend Three Houses as a place for people to start is because it's a very daunting entry to start with as far as game mechanics layered on top of each other. Whether it's, having to explore the school, doing the teaching stuff, keep going fishing in the pond, doing relationship stuff, there's a lot of systems outside the core gameplay that I think are good for people who are been playing these games for a while. But I think for a new player, it's like they just kind of want to, they want to see why people enjoy the franchise.
Yeah.
And Three Houses again was just different enough where I don't think it's a good place for new people in the same way that Awakening was, because I felt like Awakening had a great story, had a fantastic cast of characters, and just had really fun gameplay that was easy and approachable. Which is why I recommended that one for the longest time as the place to start. But I think Engage is probably now the place where I recommend new people to go.
It's interesting that we got this game, and probably by design as well. It sounds like maybe and this is, I don't know a better word to use, but a simplification compared to Three Houses, because where do you go from there other than if you just keep going bigger, better, it makes it more complex and more tricky. So I have a feeling maybe this is a kind of an inflection point for the series where maybe similar to what Arceus represents for Pokemon, where maybe we have some that are just gameplay, really good tactical grid-based stuff with some cool stories and a couple waifus and husbandos for us to enjoy, of course, which sounds like that's what this is with Engage. And then maybe there's the ultimate kind of one where it's all the things wrapped up into a thing like Three Houses. I kind of like that, actually, that the follow-up to Three Houses wasn't a bigger, stronger, faster sequel to that. This is different, and it allows for both to exist. But I think, Ryan, that maybe that's why the reviews came in the way they did, because it wasn't right. Yeah. Like low 80s, which of course we are mindful of because we're kicking the absolute crap out of those dum-dums over at the trophy room.
Yeah, we really are.
Oh my, we won January.
Strong start.
Yeah, very good start. Dead Space 89. This was sitting at like 83 or something. So we're doing great. They're doing terribly, of course. And if anybody wonders why I'm being so harsh with them, it's retaliatory. Okay, I need to be able to at least stand up for myself. They shot first, and I listened to their show, and you should too. You should listen to the trophy room, so you at least get an understanding of what I'm going after here. But Ryan, I'm jealous that you're playing this. It looks great. It looks very colorful. I need to talk to you about these invisible walls. They're everywhere. It seems like there are invisible walls everywhere. And how are you dealing with this?
Well, first off, I will preface the invisible walls only exist in areas that. So after each mission, you basically go to this area where you can walk around, and what they do, which is really interesting, is they give you the ability to run around the map you just fought in.
That's awesome.
As like an explorable area that you can then pick up little items that are on the ground. You can talk to the characters that you fought in battle with, and they'll usually talk about how they felt about the battle, as well as there's actually pets that you can adopt for your home base that you'll also find in these areas. And depending on what region you fought the battle in, there will be different pets available for you to adopt, which then, of course, give you different, items that'll spawn in your main base. So it's worth picking them up. But that's where the invisible walls come in, because as you get to the edge of the map that you fought in, there's invisible walls there where even though it looks like the area goes farther past that, you just walk into the invisible wall. Because again, I think you're referring to the video that Vic posted, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but it only exists there. Whereas if you go to the main area, the Somnolay, I think it's called, or Somniel, like there's no invisible walls there or anything like that. It's just, it looks like you can go to all the places you can go to, which is it's not a huge place you can run around anyways. But there's not really invisible walls there. So the invisible walls only take place in that one subsection of the game. And to be fair, later in the game, I really found I would just run around, pick up all the things, and then just kind of go.
Yeah, you don't want that to be an infinite space. You don't want it to be a gigantic open world. It's not. Yeah, you're not seeing a mountain off in the distance and going, I'm going to run to that. Like, that's not a big deal. It's, what I love about that is Fire Emblem continues to find creative ways to bridge the gap between what is traditionally a much more like top-down grid-based strategy to there's an actual battle here with real characters happening on the ground. And when the franchise kind of went over to Switch, I love how it does that. It's beautiful graphics. These characters are amazingly designed, but the history of the series is little pixel things like smacking into each other and stuff. So I love that we've gone from one to the other. And my history in strategy games is more the real-time strategy, but as soon as we were able to, in like StarCraft 2, zoom in and get nice and close to what's going on, like we've always had this static view from over top. So anytime we can kind of get down onto the battlefield, and this is such a Nintendo Fire Emblem anime kind of thing to do, is let's go adopt a pet and talk to our warrior friends about their feelings after a horrific battle. Like, who knows what like dismemberment just happened? Like, how you doing?
I'm kind of sad.
Hey, bud.
Exactly. And it actually goes back to, if I may, wax a little Xbox for a second here, that actually goes back to the history of Halo and how Halo even became a thing, because Halo originally started as a real-time strategy game, and they would go down to the map level and run around as Master Chief, and they're like, well, that's just so much fun. Let's just make that the game instead of a real-time strategy game.
Good, man.
So it's just funny we've kind of come full circle where now you can do that. And again, like when I say they recreated the maps that you actually play on in 3D, that is literally what space you're going around. Like if there's a turret on the map, in the overhead map, you then can run up to that turret after the battle's over and just go sit in it if you want to, which is just really interesting.
Quick shout out for a freaking super chat. Thank you so much, Amon, for the $1 super chat.
Yeah.
You are
Thank you, Amon.
the real MVP. That's awesome, dude.
What a nice
Appreciate that.
young man. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
what a nice chap. We appreciate that. Can I ask you this, Ryan? Because
Sure.
I feel like this to me, and I played Three Houses for a little bit. I couldn't read it, which was kind of my manifesto about that game was I just couldn't read it. It's just like the text was so small. I was trying to play it in handheld mode, but when you were saying earlier how there is a lot of kind of barriers and mechanics and things, it's really front loaded of like you gotta get into the groove of the school and stuff. So like the notion of being able to sort of get into it more quickly does sound like more appealing to me. It does sound like I would like this one more, but I'm seeing a lot of division from people who are like, I miss the kind of tea parties of Three Houses, and I miss the kind of like, school life in Three Houses and stuff like that. And it sounds like this is really scaling that back quite a bit and simplifying things.
Yeah. Now, John 32 actually points out in the chat, I still had to spend half an hour in the Somnial updating all of my characters and bonds tonight. So there is definitely stuff you have to do in the home base between missions. And there are some beneficial features for going back there after every single battle that you do in the game. But I definitely understand why people miss some of that stuff because, you get a lot of that stuff from, they brought a lot of those relationship things over from Persona. So you had a lot of people who like Persona jump into Fire Emblem Three Houses for the first time, and they loved all those elements for it. So it is, sad for I can understand why people would be upset that those were taken out. But honestly, I think it just helps the flow of it just makes the game flow a lot better with it not being bogged down with a lot of that stuff. Where likewise, if I didn't want to do all that stuff, I don't feel forced to do that. Whereas in Three Houses, I felt like I was forced to do the tea parties or forced to do a lot of the other side activities throughout the school, even if I just didn't want to, especially like on my third playthrough, I'm like, all right, can I just like go through this quicker somehow? So I definitely think this time around the pace of the gameplay is much better, but also again, there's lots of stuff to do back in the main base if you want to explore that aspect of things, and you can still have like lunch meals with your other party members if you want to do that, or there are some multiplayer trials you can go do in kind of the main base. There's a lot of things to do back there if you really want to explore and do more outside the traditional battles, but definitely like the relationships between the characters took a big hit this time around. But honestly, I think it was for the better because it kind of reminds me of the relationship stuff in, Awakening or Fates, just without the child stuff. That none of that's there, so you're not, making children. There is still romance in this game, so all that's still there. You're still building bonds between your teammates that then helps you in battle. You're also building bonds with the emblem rings that you have, which are the rings your characters wear that allow you to summon characters from the past Fire Emblem games, and depending on how those bonds level up, you'll then get passive bonuses for your characters as you're wearing those rings. So there's definitely reasons to then level that stuff up. So there's a lot of interesting elements at play here still, which still makes it a deep and rewarding experience. It's just in a different way than the other games were, which is why I can understand where the divide is. But for me personally, I'm in it for the gameplay and for the combat, and that was the best part about this game. And for me, that's one of the reasons why I really, really enjoyed this game a lot more than Three Houses. Is as much as I enjoyed Three Houses, because I did 4 playthroughs of Three Houses and played it for like 130 hours. So of course I definitely enjoyed my time with it. But I think I prefer this style of game more than Three Houses. And again, it just harkens back to classic Fire Emblem. Like it definitely feels more like a classical Fire Emblem. And I hope with the next game, I hope they do something completely different with it too. And do something like bring in some different type of systems. Like maybe you're not a teacher or something like that, but maybe, I don't know, you're like like you're in the military and there's like military stuff you have to do with your troops, or I don't know. They could do a whole bunch of different ideas with Fire Emblem, and I hope they continue to experiment with the series rather than then making it just be, Engage, but then bigger with the next game.
I like that. It was just funny because I was looking at this game and I'm like, okay, it's literally called Engage. Your character's wearing a ring. And this is the one where they scaled back on relationship stuff. Like it just seemed like it was poised to be like, I think maybe people came in with preconceived notions about it, especially following up Three Houses. And I don't know, like that sounds appealing to me, but at the same time, I mean, there's got to be some waifu and husbando stuff in there, no?
Yeah. Oh, you better believe it. There is definitely the waifu and the husbando stuff. But the romance does take a bit of a backseat this time around. We're not worrying as much about the romancing relationships with the other characters, but there is definitely some waifus and some husbandos.
I've seen screenshots out there, and there is it's a thirst trap more than a relationship manager. So that's great to see. We love that on our Nintendo platforms. It's very
love a good
conflicting between that and Bayonetta and everything else. That's great.
There's even husbandos and waifus among the villains that you fight too.
Dude, and this is if we were having a post show, this would be a topic for the post show, but we have already done the post show. It was pre the show. But like like you have me sold. This sounds awesome, and I've seen people play it and it looks great. And when I'm not talking to other people, and I'm a very like I am soft plastic, very influential, like I can be influenced very easily, malleable, definitely. Because when I'm on my own, I'm setting my ways. I'm going like I'm just gonna play 3 houses, and that's it. And I'm happy with that. I found peace. And then I come on to the show tonight, and Ryan talked about how great this is, and blah blah blah, and I'm like, son of a B, like, do I have to go? Like, I've got credits on my eShop. Like, I can buy this right now, but I don't need it, Ryan. Like that, I don't need. So I'm conflicted, and I'm a little frustrated by it because I'm mostly disappointed in myself that I struggle with this so much. In fact, I showed my family, Seth. I was making fun of my my parents were over. We were playing some board games for my wife's birthday over the weekend, and my mom was talking about how, or I was saying to my mom, I know what I'm doing. I know my game plan. I'm just following for this game that we were playing. We're playing Ticket to Ride, Rails and Sails. It was really, really fun.
Classic.
So I knew my game plan, and my mom was struggling. And I'm like, well, I just know what I'm going to do. And it reminded me of Lockleth making fun of me on the show because I'm all like, I don't know what's going on. And she's like, well, I'm not really conflicted like this. And I'm all, la-di-da.
La-di-da.
So I showed my parents that old short that you made of us that came up just in natural conversation. Listen, a little clip from the Nintendo Drive.
A classic.
Yep. Yard says, "Do it, Sean." I don't know what I'm gonna do, you guys. I'm a mess. Are you
that's the struggle right now. It's like the part of the reason why I kind of wanted to finish it by tonight's episode is because I've got Dead Space waiting for me. I've got Forspoken waiting for me. I have a brand new PC, and I have so many real-time strategy games to play. Like, there's a lot out right now, and then the Fiat Rhythm demo is out tomorrow, Seth. I can't.
Oh my gosh!
There's 30 songs. And I'm gonna play that demo to death. So it's just like. There's too many games at the moment, unfortunately, and it's a tough problem to have. So I can definitely understand why you haven't, jumped in right away, Sean. But this was going to be a game
made up my mind. That's why I was set. I've got a new playthrough going on 3 houses on the Blue Lions. Like it's going to be.
We already have a George.
We have a George. Dang it! But
this will be waiting for. Or two when you finally actually want to get around to playing it.
No, because Xenoblade is in the hopper. So is Triangle Strategy. Like I'm a mess. There's no way I'm getting through all of this stuff, and I'm buying comics like an idiot. Like golly, I'm just nobody. Like don't follow my actions, everybody. I'm just here to show you what not to do. That's all.
Yeah.
Don't do exactly.
Do as Ryan does. Don't. I'm just here for.
Well, that's why I focus down one game at a time because then I can get through them quicker. But that's always kind of been
must be nice, Ryan. Yeah, well, it's easy. Exactly. Look at this guy just filling in the center stage, just nice and easy like Lockleth would. It's easy to do one game at a time when you can do 50 hours in 10 days, dude. That is nuts.
It also helps that the Switch is portable. So, I mean, there's that. And honestly, I even had a little bit of a push playing this game, too, because it's just like I spent last weekend at my girlfriend's place, and she also has Fire Emblem. And she's like, all right, the whole time you're here, I love you, but we're probably just going to play Fire Emblem the whole time.
I
like,
love this.
Okay, I'm cool with this. But like one day we spent like 8 hours on the couch playing Fire Emblem together, like all curled up on the couch and stuff. It was so good.
Oh my gosh, that's so relationship goals, dude. That's really good.
Mm-hmm. And Lockleth points out the fact that I do. Unlike Kevin Ainsworth, I can't even get to all these games. So I mean, I haven't even played Hi-Fi Rush yet.
That Hi-Fi Rush is a good game. I like it a lot. Nintendo show. Let me ask you about the performance and like the presentation of it, Ryan, because I feel like a lot of people have made a lot of hullabaloo here lately about the Nintendo Switch's power, especially after Pokemon and everything. People are like, the Switch is getting long in the tooth, and certainly it is. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I look at this game, and I'm like, this is beautiful. And like, it looks like it runs super well. And I'm like, the Switch can still put out games like this. Like, I'm like, the old dog still has a few new tricks in it, man.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the characters and the spell effects look great, but just the environments leave a little to be desired when you're when you're in the environments themselves. The open map looks great, but it's just when you're in the actual battles themselves, the actual environments themselves leave a little bit to be desired. But like the home base looks great. The characters look great, and it's interesting this time around too. The main reason like why there's actually a shift in the character design as well with this game is because the characters were actually designed by a different company. This is actually the Atelier developers who actually worked on the character designs for this game, which is why a lot of the characters look like the characters from Atelier Arise 3.
It's so funny. We all say it with like this awful Italian accent because I thought you were gonna say the word Italian, but it turns into Atelier. It's Italian. Yeah. the little hands just pinching.
So that's the main reason why the characters, because the Atelier games actually play really well on Switch, performance-wise, but they also have, the characters are well animated and well crafted for the Switch hardware. So I think that played into it a little bit this time around. Whereas I think going back and playing Three Houses, it just is rougher to look at, especially frame rate wise too, where sometimes it can really dip. Whereas this game just, it's not 60 frames per second all the time. It's 30. But it's a locked 30 pretty much throughout the entire experience. Like I didn't have any dips in frame rate. Not that it really matters again that much because it is, a turn-based game. But even during the animations, when your characters are attacking or when you're doing some of the over-the-top emblem moves, because there's, a lot of different over-the-top moves you actually do with your emblems. Like none of those suffer from slowdown or anything like that. So I think this is one of the better looking releases from Switch lately, both from a performance standpoint and just visual standpoint, I think.
You love to see it.
Thank goodness. And you don't have anybody clapping the inside of their elbow or anything weird like that.
Nope. Not this time. Or you're not falling through environments or anything like that, or having people walk in on your battle as you're doing the battle. Yeah,
I'm just realizing that Pokemon clap reminds me of. Do you ever see that there's a clip of I don't know if it was the Oscars or the Grammys or whatever, but Nicole Kidman is there with her husband Keith Urban, and she's clapping, and it's like she's never clapped before. Like it looks like she has like the Pokemon bug. You got to look it up. It's amazing. She's like, what is she doing? Two people know exactly what I'm talking about there, man. But there are too many games. Ryan, do you have anything else on Fire Emblem? Do you want to?
No, I think we're gonna kind of wrap it up here. I think Fire Emblem's amazing. If you like the series and you can get over the fact that there's less relationship stuff to do, or there's not the school stuff from the previous one, I think you're going to have a great time with this game. I think if Breath of the Wild wasn't coming out this year, I would say it would probably be in the front runner for a Switch game of the year. If Breath of the Wild 2 or Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom. We're getting Donkey Kong and Mario, Ryan. We all know it to be true.
Oh, don't forget about that. That Metroid Prime remake coming out later this year as well. That's
what a mystery. Correct. 2023. Holy cow. Did anybody predict that, Seth? Did we predict anything about Metroid? I can't even remember.
I don't think so. I'm going to have to go back and listen to that.
It needs to be on the show notes. I need to write that down. Yeah, we're going to reference it the rest of the year.
Yeah. We took poor notes is what we did.
I mean, there are some poor fools in Fantasy Critic in our Carpool Gaming Discord. Yeah. Fantasy Critic who think Metroid Prime 4 is coming.
They picked all the Metroid games coming out this year.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know what's happening.
The trophy room picked all of them, but then I noticed some Carpool people are also picking Metroid Prime 4 for this year too.
Oh, in the host one.
No, in our community ones.
Oh, we're in too many leagues, dude. A and B. We are in way too many leagues. Holy cow, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, speaking of too many games, you guys.
Segue.
Yeah.
I'm not buying Fire Emblem. I'm confused about all these things. And what does Nintendo and Xbox figure out just all of a sudden? GoldenEye.
Yeah,
GoldenEye
dude.
happened.
Yeah, dude.
I think that I'm able to actually talk about this on two different shows in perhaps two different ways, because the game released on Nintendo Switch and also on Xbox, and I've had two different experiences on both of these things. And we had a nice community game night on Saturday. We played multiplayer, which is exclusive to Nintendo Switch, and it's basically running like you are like couch co-op. Just
great.
Connected by the magic of the internet, which is far more technology than I ever would have imagined possible in Nintendo land. You know, like it's just some trickery is afoot here. But we played with Bowsah and a few others were jumping in, which was super fun. And the only thing that it's so unfortunate, I was even saying this on the stream, Ryan, that like the controls are the story here.
Yep.
Because GoldenEye
Totally.
is so special and the levels are great and the weapons are awesome and just totally unique. We didn't really see anything much like it after that. And all we can talk about are these dang controls because they don't map well to a Pro controller. And if you do have an N64 controller, which I do, you don't want to play like that either because your muscle memory is backwards. Like if you play with solitaire controls, the C-sticks move you, like they strafe you around and you're looking with the thumbstick with your left hand. It's totally swapped. And so like there's a couple things you can do to get the controls close to like a twin stick kind of control scheme. It's not quite there. Luckily, I'm an old man and I play inverted because that was the default.
It defaults.
Yep.
It defaults.
It defaults
That's
to inverted. I think that
It's almost like that's the real way you're supposed to play things.
that's how your brain works. That's how you put the camera on the back of your head and you lift it back to look upwards. You know, that's
Yeah.
how that works. But we had a great time playing it. The sad thing is I don't know that people will do it again. And that is
Right.
the true crime. And on the Xbox Drive, Ryan, I'm going to tell you a completely different tale about my time on the Xbox, which is, you know, just a quick sneak peek for those people, like, is very good. I had a great experience on Xbox, and I had oh, come on, guys, like, just one more. Come on, like, this isn't that bad. Like, it was that on Nintendo, and that sucks. It's such an important game. For people who were there, you remember, like, the summers of GoldenEye, just endless multiplayer stuff. And the magic that brings us together on the internet is there, but the controls aren't. And golly, what a shame. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. But I mean, it's kind of what we expected to happen, especially with
Yeah.
as soon as they announced it was going to be an NSO game, I knew from the start they weren't going to go in and patch any of that stuff.
know.
And knowing, you know, what we know already going into that about how you could match controls, I knew it was good. I expected it to be rough going into it, which is too bad because that's not what you want it to be. Because if it controlled better, I think people would enjoy it more, especially with the single player. Because one of the special things the single player does for GoldenEye is when you play it on the harder difficulties, it's not just the enemies are more bullet spongy like every other modern first person shooter. There's extra objectives you have to go
So
do.
good.
There's other parts of the
It's
levels you go
brilliant.
to. Like it was such a forward thinking way of level design that we just. Other than Perfect Dark, like what
You
other
don't see
developers really do that? You don't ever see that. It's just the bullet spongy stuff. That's part of the reason why I don't play, you know, modern shooters on hard difficulty, because what's the point? Is the way I kind of look at it.
Well,
Whereas-
and not only that, Ryan, the other crime here that is against humanity is that I would actually really like to play the single player because not only do you have the different difficulty levels, but there's the time trials that unlock cheat codes that happen that you can use in multiplayer, and that changes things up a little bit as well because you don't have an unlimited number of maps or guns or modes or anything else. So at a certain point, you know, and we played GoldenEye so much back in the day. At a certain point, you kind of have seen it all. But that extra flavor with the cheat codes of big head mode or paintball mode or whatever else, like those are great. But I will not be playing single player missions on the Switch. Not when I have the Xbox version over there, which controls phenomenally. You know, so that's been and it has achievements and it looks better. Like there's a whole bunch of, like, there are actually two different games. And I think I don't remember who actually said it. There's two different developers who handled it. who handled each one, which is fascinating. And I think neither of them got the full treatment of what that game deserves as far as how important it is in gaming in general.
Yeah.
It's just a shame that like, it's just a matter of licenses and lawyers and whatever else.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the Xbox version had multiplayer, it might just be the most perfect way to ever play that game ever.
Yeah. Totally.
But,
yep.
Yeah. But yeah, there's more to it, which is just such a shame. And what's worse about this too is because you can't buy this game, you know the license is going to run out at some point.
Oh,
so you know they're just going to remove it again. And you know when people finally get around to be like, all right, maybe I'll try GoldenEye again in a year or two, and you won't be able to play it anymore. It'll be gone from the store. It'll just be poof. Because even on Xbox you can't buy it either. It's part of Game Pass or part of Rare Replay, but it doesn't count as a purchase for the game. So it's going to be pulled at some point, which just makes me really sad.
You can't even buy Mario 3D World anymore. So yeah, this is going to happen to GoldenEye. Yeah, I think you're right, Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate that they didn't go in and like touch up, because this was essentially just like a ROM dump or something, like an emulated, whatever on an NSO, just like everything else on there is. And I think that there is some subset of the fan base that likes that from like a purist perspective or whatever. But like, and also the only reason the Nintendo Switch version has online is because that's baked into NSO.
Yeah.
That's the only, it's not like they went out of their way to make it work, it just does. So, it's unfortunate. It feels like lazier, I guess, on Switch, which is kind of unfortunate. And people are doing this crazy stuff where they're like, I'm going to have 2 controllers and play akimbo so I can have, it's ridiculous.
I mean, people used to do that all the time anyways with the N64 version. So, I mean, that's not new.
It's authentic. It's authentic, if nothing else. But like, it's exactly how it was, for better or worse. But yeah, it's hard not to look at the Xbox version and be like, man, like this game is so special and so many things about it completely hold up.
Yeah.
And that mission structure thing, the difficulty, that is so genius. And it's a shame that people are going to take one look at it and hear all this discourse about the controls and stuff on Switch and just be like, nope, I'm good. I'm out.
It really is a shame. And the thing is that like multiplayer is inherently kind of competitive. Like there's a score and everything too. So it's not very fun if you're just getting shellacked the whole time because you're fighting the controls. Like it's difficult to kind of get through that. But I'm curious to know if there's other people out there who don't have an Xbox and are playing exclusively on Switch, what the experience has been. Because like this is my experience. There's a few of us who have a shared one here. But leave a comment below. I'd love to hear more about it, because it's just for me personally, just such a special game. So many great memories coming flooding back. And yeah, like I said, I'll talk more about it, I think, on the Xbox Drive. But while I whine and complain about not having time for the latest and greatest games, I'm playing maybe the best game from the 90s, like the 64.
But why not, Sean? Why? I mean, that should be totally fine. It's just like, at some point in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to replay or play for the first time the Zelda CDI games, because I'm actually very excited to play those for the first time.
Nice.
And I'm just like, man, there's so many new games coming out in February, but I kind of want to play the Zelda CDI games instead. Like I think that I just want that to be a thing.
The heart wants what the heart wants. Love is love, Ryan.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Sean, anything else you've been playing? Just GoldenEye?
GoldenEye on 2 different systems. I think that's that's basically it. And 3 houses, but very slowly. Neon White almost finished. I'm at the point now, Seth, that I'm just gonna beeline it for the finish, and I'm realizing I basically did that the last 2 times that I fired it up, and I'm like, this game will take me like 45 more minutes tops. Like I'm just flying through these things. But people have been like, why are you playing like Neon White for so long? It's because I have replayed every mission so many times, like ace, whatever, platinum trophy or whatever that is, and finding the gift. And I'm not going to do that now. I think I'm just going to kind of see what happens. And by doing that, I think I'll enjoy the story a little bit. Like it's really ramping up here. Things with neon green and red and violet are kind of getting a little spicy. So
it does get spicy towards the end there. The unfortunate thing is the game's true ending, and this is like my one major complaint about the game, is the game's true ending is locked behind the gifts.
Yeah.
So you get an ending, and it's like fine, but the real ending only is when you get all the gifts.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks. But
And I think in my head, like I can't decide, and I won't decide until I get there. But I'm like, I'm gonna get to the end, and my intention is that I will go back and clean up. But at the very least, I would like to just. It really doesn't seem like I'm far in this game at all, because I'm really not. But it's because I've played every mission probably 20 times each, you know.
Right.
So.
Yep.
But great game, continues to be amazing.
I'd spent like 20 hours just on the first like 3 chapters.
Totally.
Like I just, that's how it is, dude.
Yep.
It's part of the fun is replaying all the missions in that game.
But I got up real early to play some games this morning, you guys. Like I might be onto something new. I was up at like 3:30 in the morning so that I could play games and then go to the gym and then go to work.
You
so
cracked the dad code.
Once we're done this, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
I'm so done. Yeah.
Oh man. Can I talk to y'all quickly about SpongeBob? The good news about SpongeBob SquarePants the Cosmic Shake.
I did not see that coming at all, but yes, of course.
So I'm playing this on Switch. Huge thanks to THQ Nordic for providing me a code for this. It is really fun, actually. I am so surprised by this game. I'm not a SpongeBob guy. I never have been. I was a little too old for SpongeBob, I think, when it came out. My younger brother and sister watched it, whatever. So I'm not picking up on like every single solitary reference, but this game is so fun and charming. And what it reminds me of the most is actually Psychonauts 2, weirdly. Like, just the way that there's all kinds of like colorful, varied levels. Like 1 second SpongeBob's in like this cowboy level, 1 second he's in a pirate stage, then a prehistoric era. Like, it's so fun. Like, it's a really just kind of charming, fun, well-made little 3D platformer. And it's a total throwback to like that kind of original Xbox, PS2, GameCube era, 3D collectathon platformers like we used to get back then. So for people who loved like Battle for Bikini Bottom and stuff like that, it's like, you guys are going to love this. Like, this game was made for you, And I just had such a good time with this. It's a breezy playthrough. I got through it in like 10 hours, just like quick. And you're in and out, and it's just fun. Like, at the end of the day, it's just fun. It's not even full price. It's $39.99, like at US anyway. And it runs well on Switch. Like, I was surprised at how it ran on Switch.
It's like the disclaimer we need on every conversation around Switch. Like, don't be afraid. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I just liked it. I was really charmed by it. And I just don't be scared of the new SpongeBob, game.
Nice.
So, yeah, it was good.
It sounds like it turned out much better than the remake of Battle for Bikini Bottom, which I know did not review very well, despite the fact that I remember people really liking that game on GameCube. So it's interesting to hear that the Cosmic Shape is a lot better. So maybe I'll check this one out at some point. But it's good, again, too many. I think this is rough timing for this game, unfortunately, because like
it is.
I would be way more open to checking this one out probably if it wasn't in the middle of every other game that's coming out right now. I think
totally. Yeah, it's very. It's kind of it's flanked by bigger games, unfortunately.
Right. And we're getting a direct any minute now, you guys.
Yeah,
any second.
February 8th or 9th. I already said it's
Yeah, I think my prediction is out the window.
It's already
at this
passed.
point.
You're done.
Yeah, I think I'm out.
Yeah, you're
I tried to go for something a little different instead of the same old. But yeah, you can have your lob.
It's going to be
prediction.
the same old.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sorry.
I'm good with it. Honestly, I think it's been great. So yeah, very exciting. I don't know why this came to mind, but Seth, did you have Cheesy on All In this past week to talk about Super Mario? What is it called? Super Mario Land? Super Nintendo World. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Nice, man. How was that?
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a good conversation with him, and he it was we were like, we had a spy on the inside, dude. Like, he was able to go in there and kind of report back and talk about how that whole experience is. He got into like a preview event, like a friend of his invited him along, and he's like, "Stop the presses! I'm getting on a plane and I'm going to Hollywood, man."
Yeah, you got to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that was fun. That was a fun conversation.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, people should definitely check that out. Yeah, I'm starting to hear more and more people like starting to plan that they're going to work that into vacation plans. So that's exciting, man. We live in a world now where you can go to a Mario attraction. That's awesome. I love that.
We're going to be watching the movie here in just a couple months at this point, dude. April's right around the corner.
Cat suits.
Yep.
We got cat suits. Yes.
3D world, baby.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Dude, and every time we didn't get music in this latest trailer, we did get Seth Rogen, not Seth Sturgill. We got different Seths.
Yeah.
Seth on this one. Sounds great. Sounds not
Sounds
surprising
like
at all.
Rogen.
Seth Rogen. Yeah. But what I can't wait to hear is any little hint of the 3D world music, but in this new kind of overture that we're kind of getting with this movie. We've seen some familiar themes show up. And familiar melodies kind of show up, and I just love how that works in. So I'm as excited about the soundtrack for this movie as I am the movie itself. And also,
Me
of course,
too.
the 3D Mario that we are definitely getting this year. Count your bottom dollar on it, you guys. Holy crap.
Gotta be
I cannot
something.
wait. Mm-hmm.
Gotta be so. If they work in the 3D world Bowser theme into this movie, I am gonna lose my mind. Oh, dude, it's so good. I will be like that guy. If you listen to the pre-show, I'll be like the second chances guy.
Yes.
That will be me.
Therapy dog.
Good God.
Oh my goodness.
Pre-post shows are the best.
They clearly are. I mean, I'm just going to be the one dissenter with the Mario movie and say, as great as it looks, I kind of at this point have seen enough, and I don't want to see any more of this movie. I don't want
That's
anything
fair.
else spoiled. I just want to see. I'm ready for April to be here.
Yeah,
That's
that's
fair. Yeah,
fair.
no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
And then just go from there and be surprised with a lot of.
I thought you were about to say that you thought this movie looked awful. I'm like,
Yeah, I was about
no.
to kick you out of the call here. I think that was
you're
it.
you're like, well, that's the last time Ryan's ever on this show now. But
Yeah,
no,
one and done.
no, it looks great. But it's like I'm just like, yeah, I think I'm ready for the movie to come out now.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As excited as I was to see the cat suit, I was equally going like, I kind of wish that was a surprise.
That's a moment
Right.
in the theater where if we saw the cat suit and didn't know about it, like we'd be like,
Totally.
we'd be freaking out. Like,
Yeah,
that would be
all of it has been like we that's now been taken. Thanks a lot, Miyamoto. You're taking these moments away
Right.
from us. This
Right,
movie's
he's
great,
already
like
got
67 minutes. Like,
I mean, I don't know if I can't remember if y'all have talked about it on previous episodes, but there's also elements from the movie that McDonald's toys are spoiled too. So it's like,
Right.
there's little things like that have come along where, I at this point, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. They've already sold me on this movie. I just want to go watch it.
there's Seth's physical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These McDonald's toys are so bad, y'all.
They're
It's
terrible.
like hilarious how bad they are. I got this Bowser is probably the coolest one, and all you do is you spin a spike on his back and the flames twirl. And that's all it does. These toys suck.
It just looks like he was impaled actually instead of like blowing the fireball out. That's not good.
Oh my gosh, it's not good.
Good God.
Man, should we get into some of these community questions we have here? We've got some community questions.
Let's do it.
I guess
this
so.
week on the show. I guess we can do that.
Woohoo!
So this is wahoo. This is actually in light of, so this comes from Brian Eck. He says, question for the
What's up,
show.
Brian?
In light of recent news, could you share a few of your favorite Nintendo memories at E3? I missed out on so many years watching the event and would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on what made E3 so magical for gamers and developers during that period. He, of course, is referencing the news that IGN broke, I believe, earlier today or last night or something like that as we're recording this, that Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft will not be attending E3 this year, which is kind of major. So
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's not surprising as much for PlayStation or Nintendo. I wasn't after the last couple of years. I wasn't expecting them to come back, and then Microsoft, their story says they're not there, but Phil Spencer was like, "Yeah, we're just across the street at the same time, so we're kind of there." So I mean, I don't know if it's really accurate to say Xbox won't be there at all, but Nintendo, it would be nice to see them there because I know what they used to do is they used to have this giant booth and it would usually be set up for like designed and themed about whatever the big game was. Which of course we don't even know what the big fall game for Nintendo is going to be at this point, like what they would be showing at E3. But unfortunately, this is one of those things where I think Sean, you were the only one one of us that went to E3, right? So
I was just looking at my phone for pictures of this. Actually, I'm trying to remember what Pokemon game would have been featured there in 2019. Sword and Shield, maybe.
Yeah, It
Yeah.
actually would have been Sword and Shield, yeah.
So they had a great display for that. I've got a little I took some pictures of like a score bunny and
Yeah, look at that.
like some really just absolutely wonderful
Groovy.
setup. Yeah. And
Grass
so
monkey.
we were very lucky because the Nintendo dads, shout out to the freaking Nintendo dads, as I really don't want to give Justin Masson any more credit than he already gets. The rest of them are pretty great, but that Justin Masson,
That dude and his beard.
he doesn't have a beard.
Yeah.
You have to watch it. He
just-
did a Manscaped
The
thing recently.
Manscaped, yeah, he doesn't. Anyways, but for real, shout out to the Nintendo dads because they connected us with Nintendo, and we got a behind the booth tour of everything,
Oh,
and
cool.
I actually got to play a few games, including Link's Awakening. And there's a picture of me that I'm not going to share. That I'm teary eyed playing it because it all hit me. This like what was happening. This amazing access, the friendship with the Nintendo dads is the reason that we were there, that we got to play something that not everybody got to play, that the game itself was so gorgeous and the style was new and fresh, like that kind of toyish reimagining of Link's Awakening. So there's a picture of me playing that game alongside Luke Lore, actually. And a very, it all kind of dawning on me all at once. A very special moment that we got to play Nintendo games at the infamous E3 booth, So I got a different experience than I think what most people would have if they were to go to E3. So I'm not going to even come to the table with a begrudging, oh, E3 just it's not what it was and it's all
Nail on
lines
the
and whatever.
coffin.
Like I had a forever memory with my time at E3, and especially the Nintendo booth was very, very special. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where, like, I think that's the most special part about E3. Because, like, when we were asking about E3 moments here, I think just a lot of them are very forgettable for us when we're at home. But when you're actually at the event, it probably is just so much more special.
I get, but you know what though, Ryan? Like, I'll give shout outs to like the fact that the Nintendo Direct itself comes from E3, like, and the Nintendo 62, Nintendo 63, Nintendo 64, and the Robot Chicken stuff, and all the different like amazing Nintendo Directs that we got or presentations we got at E3. Like, wasn't one of them Bill Trinan just eating all the donuts or something? Like,
That was a Yokai Watch Direct.
oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The E3 stuff has been. My body is ready,
That's from E3. Yeah.
Reggie's first one, like his very first E3. I'm Reggie. I'm here to kick ass and take names. Or like, Nintendo did E3 quite well, and I feel like the reason I'm kind of like responding to you in this way, Ryan, is I think that a lot of people have this like just kind of whatever attitude about E3 in general, and especially with Nintendo. It's like, no, Nintendo did E3 really well. Everyone is here, Ryan. They spent like 20 minutes on Smash at E3, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
I have a lot of good memories covering E3 with people here and Bobby, of course. So, I don't know. Lots of good stuff.
I mean, my point that I was trying to get at more was I actually prefer watching Nintendo Directs and getting the information that way. But I think like the Nintendo booth is definitely way more special than anything else, than anything they can convey in it, both a like a press conference or the Nintendo Direct. So that was all the point I was trying to make. Because I'm with you, Sean. I actually think E3 itself, even though I've never been, very, very special thing, and it's something I want to continue. Like, it's something that I really like. As someone who wants to go to E3 this year for the very first time ever, like, it's definitely something I want to be around and be awesome. And I've been to Nintendo press events before, and they've always been great. So it's like I've always wanted to go to the Nintendo booth at E3 and go see whatever, like, when, like the Breath of the Wild one that they erected, that was just this giant, like, huge stage for the Breath of the Wild thing. Looked amazing.
Language.
I'm sorry, Sean.
We're on YouTube.
Right. Not
Can't be
not for
using
long.
those words.
Not for long.
No,
But anyways, I feel like we
agree.
completely ignored Seth here. So Seth, what about you?
No. I'm with you guys. And I think that there's a lot of like dialogue, kind of like, well, Nintendo doesn't need E3, and they don't. You know, they're gonna throw on a direct around the same time, and there's gonna be millions of views on YouTube and Twitch and whatever. They can drum up the hype themselves. They don't need to spend the budget on that kind of stuff or whatever. But like to the point of the question too is like, yeah, there are some really treasured Nintendo at E3 memories, and I think that E3 sort of facilitated a lot of that stuff, of making this an event with a stage and having like these sort of presentational vibes that directs don't quite get into, especially in the modern age, where I'm kind of just begging for like more personality out of Nintendo. Where
Totally.
like, I'm kind of just begging for that. I'm like, I miss the days of Reggie and Mystery Wata and and having the Star Fox puppets and the robot chicken. I'm begging for that.
No more shortcut. Like this whole, does Nintendo need it or not? Like it's giving them a pass that we don't need to be giving them. We need it. We're the gamers. We're the ones who want to get excited about this stuff, and it's awesome. And I'm an old grumpy man shouting at the clouds, but like Nintendo Power was awesome, and it got us hyped about stuff. And I think magazines are cool. I think E3 is cool, and all I seem to be doing is yelling and wanting stuff that has gone away to stay. And I guess I can be okay with these changes as long as there's something else. And I guess that's where the fear comes in for me, is like, if not E3, if not that to get me really riled up and to know that that's Nintendo's chance to get us all really excited, what is it then? Because the Nintendo Directs have a different feel. The one that we're going to get in February is going to be, here's what's happening this year, and that's cool, but it's not like a all in. Like Seth's YouTube channel. It's not all in. It's sort of in. And it's like, all right, here's your update, you filthy monster. You filthy animals.
It's a collection of commercials.
Totally. Here's just some scraps to keep you satisfied and busy and distracted for a little while, instead of a beacon. And with, especially in the year of Tears of the Kingdom, where is our crazy like deep dive into it, among other things? I know we're going to get I'm sure we're going to get our Zelda Direct, as we do with many other games, but I like it when it's that along with other things. And I'm tired of the kind of the narrative around it being like, well, Nintendo doesn't need it and they can get away with this, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, we like it. I don't care what they need. Like, we enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course they can, but we should want some more.
Yeah,
we should want something a little bit more, just something, just anything that it just feels so stagnated.
I don't know,
like,
something amazing. I guess
something amazing. I guess it just feels sterile. Like we get totally hyped up for it, and we like watching the trailers. But to your point about Nintendo Power, it had comic books and art and and like the
posters,
all this stuff, like Counselor's Corner and posters, and like, yes, that magazine was an ad ultimately.
Yeah.
But it had personality to it.
Yeah.
And it made you feel like you were kind of like a part of something. Whereas now it's just like you're going to watch a bunch of trailers with a voice, like a disembodied voice telling you 5 minutes of how to play Triangle Strategy or whatever. And you're going to like it. Yeah, exactly. You're going to like it. So
that's my rant.
I miss that.
That's my, anytime E3 comes up, you're going to get a very impassioned kind of rant from me. So
I mean,
don't let them brainwash you all. You need it.
Maybe we need to talk about E3 tomorrow on the Xbox Drive, Sean. Just so you can have another rant again.
Just gonna cry. I'm out of tears, you guys.
You're out of tears?
Yeah, I'm all out of tears.
Hey, speaking of tears, we've got a question from our friend Drellesh, who says, question for the show: how should we best prepare ourselves over these next 90 days to be ready and get the most out of Tears of the Kingdom? What recommendations do you have for those having completed Breath of the Wild versus those who haven't?
I mean, I don't know what this game is going to be honest. All other than it seems to be a pretty direct connection to Breath of the Wild, and that's new. Like, that's not necessarily something that we really have a whole lot of experience with. So I feel like it might be a bit of a cop-out answer. Go like, do whatever works for you. Like, I hate this answer that I'm about to give, but like, it kind of depends on if you typically get like burnt out on something. Because if you
Sure.
do, then stay the heck away from Breath of the Wild and come in as fresh as possible. Like maybe watch I was going to say a story recap, but then I kind of giggled a little bit. Like there's no story. You can watch a 35-second recap of what's going on here. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe some cosplay, or pick your favorite podcast to find your favorite communities to get involved in and find out who else is geeking out about it. Maybe another way to tackle this, instead of the more traditional, like, do you play it or do you not play it? Find your people. Take this time to find where are you going to hang. And this might even be just a call out even for us at Carpool to go like, what are our pre-Tears of the Kingdom plans? How are we going to be covering it, talking about it? You know, that kind of thing. You have me thinking, Drellesh, as you always do, my friend. Stroke of the beard.
And that's actually good advice too. It's just like, yeah, you don't want to get burned out on the same thing, because it looks like you are going to be at least exploring the same open world while also going to the sky stuff. So I would imagine you don't want to get too burned out on that open world experience. So just go watch a speedrunner. Just speed run, like a speed run of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Actually, don't do that, but also do that because it's also really interesting to see just how a speedrunner would tackle that game. Because let me tell you what, it's a really interesting way of looking at how that game is designed. But yeah, so I'm actually, again, that's a game I'm pretty excited about too. But my prep plans for Tears of the Kingdom is just somehow finish all the games I want to finish before it comes out, because there's a lot of games coming out between now and March, and then there's even more being added in April. So it's like, I want to finish all those first.
That's
and
good
then I'm
advice.
Like,
clear out your other obligations. Yeah. I was going to say, Ryan, the other thing that came to mind for me is, in anticipation, this is a total guess, but there is speculation that there might be some sort of connection to Skyward Sword. And so part of me wonders, like, maybe play Skyward Sword so that it's fresh in your mind and you might see some of those connections. But I don't know that. So it's,
But still do it anyway, because the game's like amazing.
The game, and on Switch, my biggest surprise, that game was revealed at the February Direct of that year, and I'm like, who cares? Groose is terrible, and I don't want to fight the same boss 4 or 5 or 15 times, whatever it is. I played it on Switch, totally flipped my opinion about it, and had actually nothing to do with the controls. Just time and place, and the Switch is amazing. It's just a little Switch magic, and Skyward Sword is one of my favorite games now. Yeah.
Just like how, Sean, the Breath of the Wild also had a reference to Zelda's adventure on the CDI. There's actually a location in Breath of the Wild that is actually from Zelda's adventure on the Philips CDI home console. So you should also go back and play that to prepare for Tears of the Kingdom as well.
That's what you're doing, Ryan.
Yeah, you're doing that for us.
That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm playing those. Because it makes sense.
Ryan, everybody knows that. That's common knowledge. Just kidding. Who knows that? Nobody knows that. That's amazing.
That's why you invited me on the show.
That's true.
Clearly. 2 CDI references in one show, you guys. Yeah. We haven't even talked about Hotel Mario yet. That's something we could be talking about as well.
Yes. I love some Hotel Mario. This is sort of in line with with kind of just the connective pathway we've been talking about. Quagmire asks, so far it looks like all I'm buying for Switch this year is Tears of the Kingdom and the Xenoblade 3 story scenario. Is Nintendo starting to hold back games for its Switch successor that'll launch in summer 2024? So
both. Yes, also. Yeah. I think this isn't new, Quagmire. This is the strategy. The game that you are supposed to be purchasing right now with all of your dollars is Fire Emblem, and you are pre-ordering Zelda. And this is designed by Nintendo, and we're all following suit. The Direct will unveil what is next, and there's nothing to be concerned about. We're not in the Wii U days anymore. There's no holding back. There's no shortage of content or anything. This is merely, at least for me, as simple as letting you know about anything else that's coming is just a distraction. And Nintendo has mastered this in the last 6 years, that you will buy the next game and that's it. And why they're not going down in price anyways, so you might as well just buy it day one. And then you'll get a little something after that. They've really locked it down, man. Yeah,
my thought was like, guys, we're barely out of January. Like, relax. We don't know anything yet. We know nothing.
Mm-hmm.
My thought process is there's a lot of good games on Switch announced this year that aren't first-party Nintendo games,
Right.
and they almost don't need any other games besides Zelda and Fire Emblem, because we have Project Octopath Traveler 2, we've got Theatrhythm, we got Atelier Ryza 3,
just got Persona.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Kirby.
there's a lot of good games coming to Switch in the next couple of months. So, I mean, if you didn't, for some reason, want to play Tears of the Kingdom or Fire Emblem, there's still going to be lots to play on Switch. So, but I also think, too, to the question's point, I do think they're also holding stuff, starting to hold stuff back now for the next console. But I think they were doing that last year, too, with a lot of these games. So I think, like, because we can see that new console on the horizon, whether it's Switch 2, Switch Pro, or whatever is coming on the horizon in the next couple of years. So I would imagine, like, we're going to there's going to be some of those games being held back, or new concepts that may have, come out on Switch originally, but are not now because of whenever the next console's coming.
The question is a good one to maybe come back to after the Direct. As far as what's being held back for the next console, it's just, we wouldn't know one way or another at this stage, but like, I think the picture will be much more clear immediately after that Direct, like how far out they're gonna tell us about games. In the past, and Seth, you can correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I feel like in the past we've gotten maybe as late as like July or August, maybe September, and like that's kind of it. It seems like there's this nice cutoff that allows for the June E3 kind of time for us to know what's going on in the holiday season, and I love it. Like, of all the platforms, of all the Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, like, this is the best. This is the best way to do it. Give us a few months. And I spent way more on Nintendo last year than any other platform. So they've got me, and I'm frustrated with Nintendo more often than not, and they still get my dollars. So, they've got their marketing manipulation down to a T. It's really
They'll
impressive.
announce a Paper Mario game like a month before
Holy
it comes
crap!
out.
Can you imagine?
You know what I mean?
That would be amazing.
Like,
no, but again, like
the last one.
Yeah. No, but I wasn't thinking Paper Mario. That would be great to get that.
Yeah. I look at even Age of Calamity was announced like less than 2 months before it came out. There are games that I think it all just depends on. Like, I think it's totally possible. We've been seeing the Advance Wars pre-orders crop back up. People are finally starting to be like, oh, maybe it's finally time. Like, it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world if that game was like shadow dropped.
February shadow drop, yeah.
That wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. Nintendo is going to position this stuff in the way that it makes sense for them in that moment.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think we come back to this after the February Direct that we assume we're getting. Ryan, I've got you here, so I feel like we are uniquely poised to answer this question from Neon Tiger. Top 5 Metroidvanias on Switch, go.
Oh my god. There's so many to choose from. All right.
Hollow Knight? Gotta be
Metroid
Hollow
Dread.
Knight, right?
Can you use Metroid?
Yeah. Metroid Dread's a Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Counts. Gotta have Metroid Dread in there. Castlevania Advance Collection.
Nice.
Yes. Even though it's 3 games and 3 old games, I mean, they're 3 of the best ones on there.
Yeah.
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Yes,
Great
it wasn't
game.
good on Switch when it came out, but it's been patched and it plays great now. So I think it's got to be in there. That
Do
conversation.
not disappoint me, Ryan.
And Curse of the Moon. Curse of the Moon 2. The like Castlevania 3 style Bloodstained game.
Yeah, but that's not really a Metroidvania though.
I guess that's true. Yeah, that's not really a Metroidvania. That's more of like an action combat platformer. Still good though. Play
No,
that
it's
too.
still amazing. It's just it's the other reason why I'm not throwing in the Castlevania collection, the other Castlevania.
Pat's in the chat.
Too.
Give me your best. Need games to play.
Yeah.
You've got to throw Ori in there. They're both on. They're both on
Yes.
Switch. Ori and the Blind Forest. Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Yeah, I think Will of the Wisps is probably what I'd put as the 5th one.
Yeah. Really good stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other Metro. I mean, SteamWorld Dig and Dig 2 are kind of
Yep.
Metroidvania-ish.
Guacamelee.
Yeah,
that's a good one,
Guacamelee is
too.
a great call.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There is
man.
a
There's
lot,
of-
dude. Holy cow.
Yeah,
Really
Axiom
good.
Verge as well. It's another good one.
Yeah.
That's probably like it seems like a blatant kind of ripoff of Metroid, but yeah.
It basically is.
Yeah.
Axiom Verge 2, though, in particular, is quite a bit different. That's a weird, special little game. So, but we threw out a lot of them.
Oh, and don't forget about Super Metroid on Nintendo Switch Online.
I was gonna say, yeah, like there's the
play that.
obvious, like play the actual Metroids and Castlevanias.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just play that. We got one final question here from Fulia. It says, I've recently been playing Sackboy: A Big Adventure, and I'm really enjoying the challenge aspect of the game where you can try and beat other players on your friends list through time trials. What game on the Switch would you like to see get this treatment, and what should the challenges be? Guys, every game should have like friends list leaderboards and time trials.
Yep.
Every single one of them. I want it in everything is the answer.
You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah. Free game.
All of
Until the
it.
Ariza 3 with time trials.
Coffee talk, time trials. I want to beat your times in coffee. You know, I love this stuff. Neon White is such a great example of this. Like, I just love anything like this where I can see, like, hey, your friend did it just a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, just Mario games in general too. Like I think about, like, again, I'm an old man. I think about The Wizard, the 90-minute commercial for Mario 3, which is a movie. And just the way that they had like esports kind of built into that whole thing was really fascinating.
Nintendo World Championships, dude.
Oh my God, dude, bring back Nintendo World Championships again. They did it like
few years ago.
what the heck was it? Was it Splatoon or was it something? No, it was Mario Maker.
Splatoon.
They had a Mario Maker thing too.
It was multiple games.
Yeah.
It was 3 games.
Good.
That's how the original Nintendo World Championship was. It was 3 games.
Right. Yeah.
Because it was it was the special cartridge you had for that with the 3 games on it. Because you had Tetris, Rad Racer, and a different Mario game than I played. Super Mario Brothers. I think it was just Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, didn't they have the track and field or something like that also was one of them, or is that a different thing?
I think that was a later one that they did because they revised it throughout the years. Because I think in later years they did Mario 3, track and field, and Tetris again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it in. I just love this stuff. Like, that's like my favorite is when they can have a satisfying like leaderboard. Like Astro's Playroom on PS5 was totally like this too, where people were just like trading times back and forth. I love it. I want it in like a standard feature in every Mario game moving forward. Like, just put it in there.
So I'm hearing you say all this, Seth, but the real answer you and I both know is Fiat Rhythm Final Bar Line coming out on February 17th on Nintendo Switch and other consoles. Because I need to beat all of Seth's scores in all of
Yes.
All 550 songs I need to beat Seth's score in. And that's not exaggeration. There's with the DLC, it's 550 songs.
And I will own every single one of those songs too. I'm a total sucker for that stuff. Does that have leaderboards? Do we know? Is that going to have?
No, it doesn't, which is why I'm saying it should.
Yeah, it should.
It really
should.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I need to know that I did better than you at all the songs from Nier or Xenogears or any of the more obscure games in there. And Sean's just like, what the heck is?
I'm just letting you have your moment. You guys have fun. You all have fun.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that game. Genuinely one of my most anticipated this year. Can't wait.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't go sit in the corner that time, Sean, while we were talking about it.
No. Well, that's only for you, Ryan. That's just for you.
Oh, thanks, man.
I'm trying to think. It is funny because it really is every game. But you know, Tetris 99 could use leaderboards. You know, I love even on Xbox. There's even like how many achievements have you gotten this month, or what's your gamer score this month, or like by game you can have those comparisons. Like I spend, this is something I never talk about, but I spend time scrolling through that stuff. Like, what's our achievements like kind of lining up? Me and Ryan, especially Ryan, you know?
Yeah. But Sean, I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot to mention this when we were talking about Fire Emblem. But this is one of the things I think you would actually really fall down the rabbit hole with in Fire Emblem.
Uh-oh.
There's achievements in Fire Emblem.
Oh, no.
With actual in-game unlockable stuff tied to the achievements.
Oh, wow.
And the best part is, Sean, there's literally like 500 achievements in that game. So
well, that's
like,
that's like the Korok seeds, for God's
there's
sakes.
Some, like easy stuff, but there's also like do this battle where you only kill enemies with this character. Like all kinds of crazy stuff.
I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's the first Nintendo game that I know of in recent memory that has achievements. So I thought that was interesting.
GoldenEye, put them on GoldenEye. Time like leaderboards on GoldenEye, like your time trials on that. Like that would be so good with those missions.
That'd be super fun.
The
the
Metroid
games.
Dread boss rush
Yep.
mode also needs a leaderboard like that as well.
Oh, I never played that. I always wanted to go back to that. And what else did they do?
Me
They did the
too.
boss rush, and what else, Ryan?
The mode where if you get hit once you die.
Oh, I don't
the
want any
dread
part of that
mode?
one. Yeah, I don't
Dread
want.
mode.
Who
Yeah.
cares about that. Yeah,
I kind of want to do a playthrough of that at some point on stream.
brutal.
Oh my god.
Time trials and all the games. Everybody.
Leaderboards, give it to us. It's
Leaderboards.
yeah.
Put it in there. Awesome.
I mean,
Well,
almost every game in 1997 had leaderboards in it, but we can't do that now. So there you go. Anyways, I'll let you outro to the show now.
No, yeah, Ryan, we appreciate you coming on, man. I think you sold a couple copies, perhaps, of Fire Emblem
Influencer.
tonight. That's how I feel, anyway.
Well, I mean, with a copy of Fire Emblem Divine Edition just sitting here.
I'm trying to find
this,
one.
I just can't help.
I will have a physical coming, and Locklith will be back for it. Thanks to El Babbins, Ryan, here in Canada, posted a link for Sephiroth Amiibo available on Amazon, and I put my order in today. So Sephiroth is showing up pretty soon, and I am stoked about that. That is awesome.
Locklith will be happy about that.
That is
too.
pretty awesome because I have another physical I want to show off. See, I have this hit Sega CD game Cliffhanger starring Sylvester
Cliffhanger.
Stallone that I wanted to show off. Like, look at this cover. Look at him hanging off.
Straight
that
from the
cliff.
movie. That is
Straight from
so
the movie.
bizarre. I don't even know how it came up, but I was watching something on YouTube that was talking about how there was a stunt in the movie Cliffhanger where the guy goes from he zip lines from one plane to another, and it was $1 million stunt that was illegal in Europe that Sylvester Stallone took a pay cut so they could do that stunt. And now you've got
my
your
gosh.
physical Cliffhanger. This is how fresh in my mind it is. That level of detail is there. That's
Oh,
a
God,
that's a
that's
Ryan
amazing.
Turp. Now I know what it feels like to be Ryan for a second.
Yeah.
Here's a piece of trivia that nobody was asking for. Here it is.
That's just the life you live now. Now you just can't get away from that. You know,
Oh
Sean.
man, what a life
man.
we live, you guys.
Good God. Good
I
God.
love
Get us
this.
out of here.
Ryan, where can people find you?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you, Seth and Sean, for having me on the show tonight. This was a lot of fun. I again, barely ever get to talk about Nintendo, so this was actually super fun to be able to talk about with y'all tonight. Handheld electronic device, go into the browser app and then typing in www.twitter.com/Ryan Turford. You can find me there. Thank you so much for having me again, once again.
Thank you. Sean, where can people find you?
Well, before I jump into that, I want to thank Luke Lore for joining us at Patreon, as well as Adam Renard, too. New patrons at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. But if you want to follow me on the internet, you can fire up your web browser on your Wii console, your Opera web browser.
Yep.
Go point at the address bar, and you can type in, you actually don't need all that or other letters. We joke around, but you can just start with twitter.com/Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. That's me, my friend.
Awesome. And as for me, you can ask for your parents' permission to connect to your dial-up modem and connect to America Online or something, and go to twitter.com/$2hero. You can also find Ryan on the RPG Cave, where I believe you and Garrett are also going to be talking about Fire Emblem soon.
Yep.
So
in case you didn't have enough Fire Emblem talk tonight, Garrett and I are actually going to go pretty in depth with the game on Monday. So definitely check out the RPG Cave. Or if you're watching right meow over on youtube.com/carpoolgaming, you will be right on this channel next Monday night. So definitely come and hang out with us as we talk more about Fire Emblem as well.
Awesome. Well, I have the impossible task of trying to end this the way Locklith does. She usually does a question or something like that. I don't have any questions to leave. I don't know. I don't know how she normally does
What
this.
game other than all of them should have leaderboards?
And why is the answer Theat Rhythm Fire Bar Line coming to Nintendo Switch on February 15th?
There you go. There you go. Let us know in the comments. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
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 Thank you so much for watching this episode of the new Nintendo Drive. Now, before you drive off, be sure to like the stream and subscribe here on YouTube and follow us at Carpool Gaming on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you liked what you saw and want more, be sure to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Carpool Gaming.
Deek.